QU.
Welcome to Sustainable Sailing. It's been a long time since we've made a video.
A very, very long time. And that's because we've been entirely focused on getting to the point where we've both finished work and are now living full time on the boat to get ready to sail around the world.
Yes.
Slowly. We want to get it on the water before the winter.
But no pressure.
No pressure.
So we thought, since we're here now and we've been here sort of a week, it doesn't feel quite like it because we've been backwards and forwards and to trips to the dump and all sorts, but about a week we thought we would do a little tour to show you where we've got to while it's tidy, because we've had some visitors.
Yes. Hi, Malcolm and Claire. Thanks for coming for lunch and making sure the boat was tidy. Let's turn the camera around and we'll give you a tour of where we're at so far with her. And so here we have our cockpit, centre cockpit, with the forward wheel like on enamel. It's being a rival 38 centre cockpit, and definitely a Ketch because we've got our mizzen mast up, and that's now survived several storms and things. Let's go down our companionway, which you do have to go down backwards. It's quite a long way down. Right, inside we have our galley, which we turned into a U-shaped galley. Everything came out, all rebuilt. So we have this galley extension here, which overhangs the footwell instead of having a U-shaped settee berth. It's ready to have the epoxy worktops put on, a few more cupboard doors, and obviously we need to paint and finish everything. We've, after a very long time, put the original companionway steps in, although they're now supported on legs at the bottom, so it's open behind them. Still not really decided quite what we're going to keep there in the long term. We've ripped out the original chart table. It had massive water damage, and because you sat facing outboard, it blocked the corridor, and so instead we've got our diesel reflex heater. This one, I'll move everything out of the way, has a stove top and hot water. So the plan is that the hot water is going to provide radiators to the aft cabin, and the stove top will allow us to cook in the middle of winter when there is not much solar for electricity. Diesel tank is here, and that area outboard is going to be airing cupboard, so our clothes will dry in winter. The starboard bunk, not a lot of changes structurally. We have our 3 boards which turn into lee boards across here when you're sailing, so the whole thing becomes a berth. We've got our new tabletop. It's on a lagoon leg. This is actually the remains of my parents' dining room table, so it's nice memories there. We've got the 2 knees fitted, so the cap shroud will be the Dyneema chain plate loop, or the knot will be in the middle of this, and one lower there and one lower there, so all the backing plates are there for them. On the port side is all very, very new. This is our version, though I can't imagine it looks very like it, of Sailing Uma's Nook. We call it the Nook Plus Plus. Bench seat there, which we've made big enough to have a nice slopey back, so that can be a comfortable place to sit. This is the original table, which used to be that way and block up everything in the saloon. That drops down to make a flat surface all the way through. Here we're going to add a triangular lift up flap here, so that with everything in its down position, you've got a 4-foot double bed. Basically, it looks like Numa Nook with cushions on it. We've brought all our IT from home, so every 38-foot boat should have a 40-inch TV, and we've got our 2 little mini Geekon computers there. The articulating arm actually allows the TV to push right away into the corner or alongside what will be the shelving, or come right the way out here. So you can sit on the sofa here and have the TV at the right angle. It's really quite nice. All these boxes are new, so this forward box is going to be entirely a water tank. This area under the rug on top of the keel is also going to be a water tank, and it'll extend into the bottom of this bench box here, so that all the taps, connectors and so on will be in that box and not in the floor here. If you remember, we've got our battery box going all the way back to that bulkhead there. All the floors are still temporary. When this is not being used as just for the two of us to sit, we can push the TV out of the way, clear away the printer and everything else sitting there, and actually fit 4 people at the table for a meal, and obviously another 3 or so people on this side for far more dining than we ever expect to do. We've started the hull insulation. You can see the silver backing here. The galley's done. Everywhere we'll get the silver foil backing foam. It's about 5mm, and then 40mm of XPS insulation. Okay, then we go to what was one of the original heads. Every cruising boat needs a big shredder. That's to clear away stuff from my work. Obviously once we launch we won't need it anymore. We've got our spin dryer, and in the locker on deck we've got the washing machine at the moment. Those two will store outboard in this heads compartment, and there'll be a composting toilet here and shower here. This shelving's temporary, it will be moved back a bit. We've got the watertight bulkhead above the waterline to the fore cabin. The chain is under here, and there will be a chute going up to that bit of foam in that hole there. So if you use these as bunks, mostly it's going to be a garage, if you use them as bunks, you'll be able to sit on the bunk with your feet resting on the lid above the chain, and when you sleep your legs will go slightly under the slopey thing for the chain. There's 1, 2, 3 half height watertight bulkheads, a full height one and filled with foam ahead of it at the forward end there, and that forward section also has a horizontal watertight lid, and yeah, as you can see at the moment it's just full of tools and storage. Coming back through the main saloon, we go down the corridor to the aft cabin. We've got all our wireless networking here. At the moment we've got the electric motor waiting to be lowered onto its final bearings and installed. We've got the old propeller shaft. We need a slightly longer new one, and we're going to have a tripler seal on that. We've got a new thrust bulkhead here that the aqua drive will fit to, and then we come to our favourite selling point, I guess, or purchasing point when we bought the boat, which is the aft cabin. We've set it up with a double Pullman berth here, a step and a seat on the way in, and we have our ensuite composting toilet for here. Just in the corner there you can see this is a dehumidifier exit, so it sucks the warm air above the cooker, goes through dehumidifier in the cockpit locker, and we get warm dry air coming out into this locker. I think that's just behind there. We've got an opening panel to the lazarette because we couldn't get our bodies in from the top to do the chain plate stuff. Ah yes, all our Dyneema chain plates holding up the mizzen mast are working beautifully. We did have leaks. We couldn't stop water running down the middle of the Dyneema and leaking at the bottom. So all these soft shackle knots have been dipped in and coated with thickened epoxy, and then epoxied into the boat. So it'll take a hole saw to get them out, but all but one of them now don't leak. In fact, the only one that leaks is above Jane's bed, so it's not very high priority to fix that one, is it?
Yeah, it's improving. I mean, it was just spraying the water in my face every time it rained, and now it's just like dripping down the back. And
Yes,
yeah,
we will get that fixed.
eventually we'll get there.
Let's have a quick chat about where we're at and what's coming next. What?
Just laughing because we have so much trouble setting up the tripod, but now it's up, so
Right, that's a little boat tour where we're at. We won't be leaving it 6 months or longer before recording more videos, but in the meantime we have kept up with our blog on www.sustainablesailing.net, and in fact we've upgraded and moved it to use Ghost, so it's all sexy and new and very exciting, and has paid memberships, a whopping £2 a month to support sustainable sailing if you want to subscribe on the blog with a weekly newsletter.
yep.
We've had one of those so far.
Well, we've only been here a week.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Coming out each Sunday. And
oh, coming up soon, there will be a video starring me talking about how I made the shrouds for the mainmast, which turned out to be a lot more difficult than I'd anticipated.
yeah. When you look at Dyneema splicing videos, very few people are doing it with the 12mm line.
When I searched to try and get...
A lot more difficult than the 9mm for the mizzen mast.
So just a little video about that.
So tips on how to do locking Bromwell splices at both ends of a long shroud, particularly, yeah. And we've also got some recordings of the final rush before we moved out of the Methodist manse we were living in to stretch that Dyneema after the splicing.
If I hadn't left it so late to splice it, it might have been so much of a rush.
We've been busy. So we did manage to get all our Dyneema spliced and stretched, and therefore one of the coming soon jobs will be to prepare to get the main mast up. But our first priority, now we've moved on to the boat, is to get our solar and batteries connected, so we use a little bit less mains electric in the boatyard.
Yes.
So please stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, give us a like, and go and look at our blog.
And thank you so much for joining us again after this very, very long.
Yes, it's good to be able to share where we're at, especially as this is such a momentous time for us, to actually have both finished paid work. I've got 5 years off from the Methodist Church now for us to go and sail around the world.
Yes, we've just got to get the boat ready.
Get the boat ready, aiming for Cornwall for the winter, and then round the UK next year. So there's a lot coming before we get to the Caribbean in a year and a half.
Yes.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Plans written in sand at low tide is what we always say, but that's the sorts of things that we're aiming for. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye.
Bye.